Hello and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a story that kicks off with a simple wedding announcement but ends up revealing decades of hidden social history and a really powerful act of personal courage. So let's just jump right in with that question. When is a wedding announcement more than just that? Well, the answer is when it's a public challenge to a painful social taboo that's been around for a long, long time. We're going to unpack how one politician's Facebook post about his daughter getting married turned into this profound statement on love, identity, and defiance. But, to really get the weight of that post, we actually need to go back in time. Back to a period when the social and political tensions between Sudan's north and south were incredibly high. We're going to see all this through the eyes of one narrator and a memory from his childhood that just didn't make sense to him until much, much later. Okay, so picture this. We're in Omdurman, Sudan in the late 1980s. Our narrator is just a young kid working as a shoe shiner, moving all through the neighborhoods. And back then, weddings were these huge, week-long parties in tents right outside the family's house. So he saw them all the time. But there was this one detail that always stuck with him. At all these northern Sudanese weddings, he kept seeing these older women who, by their features and their complexion, were very clearly from South Sudan. As a boy, he'd often get invited in to eat, but he was way too young to grasp the significance of what he was seeing. It was just a thing he noticed. Right. Let's jump forward to 1994. The narrator is older now, he's working in construction, and he's about to accidentally pull back the curtain on the painful secret behind those childhood observations of his. See, while he was doing repair work in people's homes, there was usually a screen or a curtain put up, to separate the family from the workers. But because people trusted him, sometimes he'd be sent back after hours to grab his tools. And it was in those moments, when the whole public performance was over, that he saw what was being intentionally hidden. And this was the shocking reality he stumbled upon. Behind the main house, in a simple shelter, he would find the family's own mother or grandmother, an elderly woman from South Sudan. It was a conscious effort to hide her from public view, a kind of deep-seated social shame, and a flat-out denial of their own family roots. And here's the crucial part. This wasn't just one family. Not at all. The narrator saw this exact same practice of hiding South Sudanese matriarchs in dozens and dozens of northern homes. It was this widespread, unspoken cultural thing, all born from a really profound social stigma. So, with all that painful history in mind, let's fast forward to today. All of those memories came rushing back to the narrator when he stumbled upon a Facebook post by a prominent Sudanese politician, Yasir Arman. And it was a post celebrating his daughter's wedding. The post starts with this incredibly powerful metaphor. Arman, who's a northerner, and his wife Aradane from the south, they aren't just announcing a wedding. He's framing their entire family story as this deliberate act of nurturing love, a love that bridges the two very different parts of the country. And this is why it matters so much. What he did was the absolute polar opposite of that culture of hiding we just explored. Where some people hid their southern family out of shame, Arman put his front and center with total pride for the whole world to see. It might seem like a small personal post, but it had these revolutionary social implications. And, the proof is right there in the details. Instead of hiding who people were, he proudly and publicly lists the names of his South Sudanese in-laws who helped put on the wedding. To the narrator, seeing a northern man publicly thank his wife's southern family by name, well, that was an act of exceptional courage. And the celebration itself was a physical example of this bridge. They actually held two ceremonies. One followed Islamic traditions to honor his northern heritage, and the other was celebrated with the ancient traditional ceremonies of his wife's Nilotic tribe from the south. It was this deliberate fusion, giving equal respect and honor to both sides of the family. So this one family's act of love and defiance, just published on social media for everyone to see, it raises a much larger and honestly a much more hopeful question for the future of two nations that have been ripped apart by conflict. The narrator sees this as something so much bigger than just a wedding. He predicts that this specific family, so firmly and proudly rooted in both the North and the South, has a truly unique future ahead of it. They belong equally to two places. And really, that's the core takeaway here. A personal story of rejecting a painful social taboo becomes this powerful public symbol. It's a living, breathing example that the divides between people and even between nations don't have to be permanent, and that love and family can be the very seeds of reconciliation. And that brings us right to the narrator's final, provocative thought. He starts to wonder, could a child or grandchild from this very family, someone who is a living embodiment of both Sudan and South Sudan, could they one day be a figure who helps to finally unify the two nations? It's a hopeful, incredible question, all born from one courageous act of love.